The joint pilot project, Sexual and Reproductive Health Training in the Fishing Communities on Lake Victoria, Uganda, is implemented by the GIZ Responsible Fisheries Business Chains Project in partnership with Sector Initiative Population Dynamics, Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Program, with funding from Germany Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. Fishing communities comprise approximately 10% of Uganda's population and are among its major populations. However, despite the economic importance of the fisheries sector, it presents unique challenges, particularly concerning sexual and reproductive health and rights, SRHR, for both women and men engaged in the fishing industry. Fishing communities face limited access to sexual reproductive rights information and services, low contraceptive utilization, and planned pregnancies and gender-based violence. These challenges are exacerbated by the remote and often isolated locations of fishing communities, coupled with limited healthcare infrastructure and the influence of traditional norms and practices.
Namayingo as a district, we border Tanzania, we border Kenya, and because of these international borders, they are also porous borders because these are wet borders. You realize that we have a lot of risk factors in terms of surveillance of diseases, both in human and animals.
As a district, we have been having several NGO partners coming to do a lot of interventions on the sexual reproductive health, but you find that the fishing community has been left behind. And this is a community which is unique in its nature. Look at the people who normally go to the landing site, the islands, really have issues. And this has been like neglected.
Sector Initiative Population Dynamics Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights Program undertook additional training on SRH interventions for a total of 1,898 Business Development Services BDS trainees, including 971 women and 927 men across fishing districts on Lake Victoria.
And another thing which we realized was that training in sexual and reproductive health and rights might be very, very vital and beneficial for that participants in our BDS training. So having realized that and having seen that need, we were lucky to have been offered a partnership by the Sector Initiative Population Dynamics, Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights, which play an important role in implementing that rights within the GIZ context.
This was aimed at building a knowledge base on the SRH and improving access to the SRH services. The overarching goal was to integrate SRH into various sectors, including nutrition, rural development, and vocational training. The multifaceted approach included a needs assessment, coordinated workshops with stakeholders within the fisheries communities, development and dissemination of information materials. The project procured 5,700 packets of male condoms, 6,800 packets of single-use pads, and 1,260 packets of reusable pads, and distributed them in the fishing communities, and training sessions on SRH interventions. The training sessions covered essential components such as menstrual health, STI, HIV prevention, family planning, gender-based violence awareness. HIV in the fishing communities is high with an estimated 21% prevalence. This HIV burden has been attributed to several factors, including high migrations, limited access to SRH services and knowledge, HIV prevention and treatment, and ongoing high-risk sexual behavior.
After BDS, the training we got, it helped us on the learning side because we were taught how to live without getting HIV/AIDS. Secondly, we were taught how to prevent HIV/AIDS. Then we were told how to live with those people with HIV positive. When we are sick, we are told to go and get treatment. Treatment is there, and if you get treatment, you can live longer and plan for your family. We were taught that.
GIZ bweddayo yankoba kunze muna eikerenda oteekwa okulimira ng'osoose okulya eikerenda oteekwa okuba oti weewaliikirira mu butuufu lw'embeera gye nalimu yali nzibu kubanga famire yonna naye yali ende kuliire nga ndi zenka era zeena bwe ntambula nga nsomesa bannange n'abagumya nti okufuna akawuka ka siriimu tina enkomerero y'okufa.
Because now this one is a social issue, it's for us all. We also saw a high demand for condoms, and this we were also emphasizing these condoms actually are driven on two fronts. First of all, as a family planning package, commodity, but also for STI prevention, including HIV/AIDS. So we see this morally high.
Learned how to protect HIV/AIDS, stroke AIDS, by using condoms. Two, by not joining too much prostitute, by going for checkup to know that you are a victim or you are not.
This initiative encompasses the right-based family planning and maternal health program, aligning with the BMZ 2030 strategy of the rights-based family planning and reproductive health for all.
As we went for family planning, we know that now we mastered that you can get children that you can manage. Are you getting me? Don't produce anyhow.
Never somesa. Obeera otya mu family planning nga tekukosa oba oyiwa omusaayi ne basomesa ne batukyusa nti gwe oba oluusi family planning yo tekwatagana neno method kyusa method eno nenkyusa method nembeera bulungi nnyo nga sina na buzibu bwonna era bampa moon beats nga ze nkozesa nenzira wamu ne bba wange nenzirayo amaka gange ne gatereera.
Menstrual health and hygiene remain a critical primary concern that the initiative made an effort to address among the fishing communities largely dominated by women.
The biggest training came and they taught us about healthy reproductive system. They told us that we must use what? Pads. And they told us there are two types of pads. There are pads for washing, and then there is pad for single use. And they told us we must be clean. After using that pad, you wash it and you put on the sunshine to dry. Another pads we use once and we throw it.
In Uganda, 30% of women experience physical and/or sexual domestic violence during their lifetime. The consequences of gender-based violence are profound, manifesting in evident physical injuries, diminished self-confidence, pervasive sadness, and low self-esteem, thus causing poor performances in their fisheries businesses.
And so we got a knowledge from there that if
if you are not in touch with your partner, at least you can get some neighbors or at least religious leaders to counsel you such that you come back to normal if you come to that extent of violence. And from there I went to my community. I counseled the people because I was trained in, because I could find the other ones fighting.
Twalina obuzibu bungi mu maka nga tulina obuzibu nga tuli awo ebiseera byonna tulina kulwanagana n'omusajja mu maka nga sirina omulembe, naye ku musomo okwo nayiga kati bye nayigamu nabikwata era ndi kubigoberera naku zino ndi bulungi.
The pilot SRH training in fisheries businesses empowered individuals to make informed reproductive health decisions, alleviating burdens on nearby health centers. Additionally, it promotes gender equality, enhances workplace safety and productivity, and contributes to SDGs and national goals with valuable lessons for future initiatives.
We used to even to receive like 10 asking for injectables. I want cyana, I want depo, but nowadays we can even spend without even getting anyone asking for cyana or injectable. That means they're doing some work and the population has reduced. That part of family planning, because they also make a line here waiting to be served for family planning, and sometimes they get tired. By the time you reach on her to talk about the need, what she has come for, and he's saying, oh, I want cyana, it is no longer there. If they come sometimes, you just say, I've given you this time, but when you need it, go to your village to so.
Deliveries also began. They also now, mothers are coming for antenatal and others come for antenatal, they also deliver. And all this is actually hiking the demand. And for that reason, we have already highlighted that facility. It is the Uganda Health Center too. This facility now to be upgraded to be Health Center 3, and we have opened our doors.
We were very interested to kind of have focal persons in each and every group who kind of continue to have a sustainability, not a one-off training to everybody, but the leaders of the groups should now continue, maybe handing out equipment which we left, and also to continue educating people, to remind them to kind of do refreshers and they, look here, that's what we have learned, can you still remember, come together, and I think that was our approach to do the whole thing.
Health Unit Management Committee members should get involved as a community structure. The school management committees, they should be involved as a school structure. The local leaders, the youth groups in those areas should also be involved, so that we have a wider scope of interveners and have some kind of a sustainable program.